Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Theology Thursday, late at night, because, hey, the schedule's changed, and you know that, and yet you are all the same, standing by me, helping me here to defend the faith, the family, and the fellowship, and the way that we do that is through sound doctrine. It all comes down to theology. You've heard me discuss, you've seen me address all sorts of matters, whether it's culture, theology, politics, you name it. It comes down to doctrine. It comes down to the Bible, the Word of God, and I appreciate all of you who are so faithful to continue to be a part of this whole thing. And I like Michaela's word here. I actually like the evening editions, less chance of missing out on the live. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you. And Rick, who is up past his bedtime, all the same, really appreciate him. And Ken says, if you're triggered by cotton plants or sombreros, you might be tuned into the right broadcast. Yeah, I did hear about old Serena Williams. She went and stayed at a hotel in, New York, and there was a plant, or a decoration that had like a cotton plant, and yeah, she was very offended. Very terrible, horrible. I'm sure BLM is marching in the streets as we speak. And since I brought up BLM, you may want to be sure to have a link open to the website, markbaseministries.org, powered by Worshify, our good friend Nathan, the tech extraordinaire, the tech mission field. I'll remind you, if you want to support what he's doing, then go to the techmissionfield.com. I believe that is his website, and you can support his efforts. The Tech Mission Field, here he is. So if you'd like to support his efforts, he's the one that makes this possible, all right, to be able to have the catalog, the reach that we have. He's done so much for us. I really appreciate him. And he just so happens to be the son of Dr. Randy White, who's with us as well. All right, now a few things before we jump into tonight's Theology Thursday. Couple things. I'll remind you, last night we went live for Studying Abraham, Finding the Biblical Truth, covering the latter half of chapter 19 and all of chapter 20. So you have some homework to do. Go watch that and let me know what you think of it. And I still need to teach Hosea. We had a hiccup on the live stream Sunday. That was entirely my fault. No internet technology issues. It's just my fault. I'll get that uploaded. All right. So bear with me. Okay. Cut me some slack. Be patient. And let's jump in here. And so let's see. The first question I had, I'm pretty sure it came from Paul. And so, Paul, I don't know if you're up this late, but I'm going to answer your question. I just got to go back here in my list of things because I don't yet have the fancy Q&A. I don't know, link I can click on that just gives me all the questions. And now as I'm looking through it, I don't know if it's on my computer, so I'm going to have to very subtly go to my cell phone to find Paul's question. I know it was an Old Testament question, and I know that it was about some people that Solomon, I have no idea. All right, here we go. Got Paul's question here. Why did it anger Solomon that Adonijah asked through Bathsheba to have Abishag the Shunammite as a wife? Because you all know that story, right? You probably just got done reading it. It's one of the most well-known stories in all the Bible. Of course I kid. Paul, thank you for asking me a very obscure question. So let me first of all start looking through where to even find these names, because believe it or not, I am not an expert on Adonijah, nor am I an expert on Abishag the Shunammite. All right, when I get to be as mature, experienced as Dr. Randy White, maybe I'll have an opinion and I'll know what to say. But right now, I still have hair on my head and it's not all gray. So you're just going to have to be patient with the young preacher for a minute, okay? But let's look up the name here, Adonijah. Sounds like a prophet, doesn't it? Elijah, Elisha, so on. And let's see exactly the passage we're looking here, where he may appear, or this discussion being had. And Paul, if you're watching, then by all means, please let me know the particular verse, because I'm here on Blue Letter Bible looking up all the places that we have Adonijah, and quite a few times here as I'm looking through this. Let's see, is it chapter 2? Yeah, hey, here we go. I'm seeing a Shunammite here. All right. Chapter 2, 1 Kings. Now, I will preface this because I'm going to, give myself an excuse. Because you did ask why. And maybe the Bible will tell us why. Sometimes the Bible does give us the answer. Why this? Why that? Sometimes the Bible does not give us why this and why that, and we are left to speculate. So let's start trying to get down to the bottom of this. Why did it anger Solomon that Adonijah asked through Bathsheba to have Abishag the Shunammite as a wife? Okay, so here we go. Let's get Biblify pulled up. And I'm going to also be using Blue Letter Bible as well. But 1 Kings chapter 2, this is shortly after the death of David. And let's see, let's pick up in verse 10 and try to get the picture going on here. So, David slept with his fathers, it means he died, and was buried in the city of David. And the days that David reigned over Israel were 40 years. 7 years reigned he in Hebron, and 33 years reigned he in Jerusalem. Then set Solomon upon the throne of David his father, and his kingdom was established greatly. And Adonijah, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. All right, Adonijah. The first time we see Adonijah mentioned in all the Bible is going to be in 2 Samuel chapter 3, verse 4. In a long list of names. Now there was a long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker. This is Blue Letter Bible here. Biblify doesn't have the word search feature yet, so here we go. And unto David were sons born in Hebron. His firstborn was Amnon of Ahinoam the Jezreelitess, and his second Chileab. I haven't pronounced the words. I haven't practiced, so leave me alone. He who has always perfectly pronounced biblical names cast the first stone. Of Abigail, the wife of Nabal, the Carmelite. And the third, Absalom, the son of Maacah. There we go, I got that one right. Maacah, the daughter of Talmi, king of Geshur. And the fourth, Adonijah, the son of Haggith. So Adonijah, son of David. Of course. How could I have forgotten? How could you have forgotten? I'm assuming Paul knew this. Yeah. I said Paul and it threw me off because I was thinking, wait, Paul of, the apostle, the Bible? No, Paul of Texas. And so Adonijah is the son of David. He's the son of Haggith. So now that we have that background here, with that, and Adonijah, Solomon's half-brother, the son of Haggith, came to Bathsheba, the mother of Solomon. That is correct. Bathsheba is Solomon's mother. And she said, "Comest thou peaceably?" And he said, "Peaceably." Now, there may be some history there. I mean, there's been kind of the house of David was divided. There was civil war in the kingdom over many issues surrounding David's reign, and was it Absalom that tried to take the throne? I believe that's right. And so he asked, "You come peaceably?" And she asked peaceably, and he said peaceably. He said, "Moreover, I have somewhat to say unto thee." And she said, "Say on." And he said, "Thou knowest that the kingdom was mine, and that all Israel set their faces on me, that I should reign." I'm going to just take his word for it. We could probably spend a very long time trying to get all the context. Let's just let it be what it is. "Howbeit the kingdom is turned about, and is become my brother's, for it was his from the Lord." Okay, Adonijah acknowledging, hey, this is belongs to the little brother Solomon. I think it's his little brother. I'm assuming the timeline there. And now I ask one petition of thee, deny me not. And she said unto him, say on. And he said, speak, I pray thee, unto Solomon the king, for he will not say thee nay, that he give me Abishag the Shunammite to wife. And Bathsheba said, well, I will speak for thee unto the king. And Bathsheba therefore went unto King Solomon to speak unto him for Adonijah. And the king rose up to meet her and bowed himself unto her and sat down on his throne and caused a seat to be set for the king's mother. And she sat on his right hand. Then she said, I desire one small petition of thee. I pray thee, say me not nay. And the king said unto her, ask on my mother, for I will not say thee nay. And she said, let Abishag the Shunammite be given to Adonijah thy brother to wife. And King Solomon answered and said to her, and why dost thou ask Abishag the Shunammite for Adonijah? Ask for him the kingdom also, for he is mine elder brother, even for him, and for Abiathar the priest, and for Joab the son of Zeruiah. I'm just working on these names as we go here. Then King Solomon sware by the Lord, saying, God do so to me, and more also, if Adonijah have not spoken this word against his own life. Now therefore, as the Lord liveth, which hath established me, and set me on the throne of David my father, and who hath made me an house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death this day. Yeah, Paul, I think that's a good way to put it. Solomon was angry that Adonijah made this request. What history do we have on Abishag? Beautiful name, Abishag, the Shunammite. That is there anything that we would read that would make us say, oh yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, what a silly thing for Adonijah to even ask. Let's start doing some investigating. If you ask obscure, thought-provoking, highly contextual Bible questions, do not be surprised when you get a lengthy answer. So let's continue to work through this here. Abishag, let's see if we get anything from that. 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 3, we have her mentioned. Now King David was old and stricken in years. This is verse 1. And they covered him with clothes, but he gat no heat. Let me go ahead and turn over to Biblify here, since these are, come on now, this is the house that Nathan built over here, Biblify. So 1 Kings chapter 1. Wherefore his servant said unto him, let there be sought for my lord the king a young virgin, and let her stand before the king, and let her cherish him, and let her lie in thy bosom, that my lord the king may get heat. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. So reading that sounds to me like exactly what you think it is. The king is old, stricken in years, we need to liven him up a bit. Hey, let's get a young virgin. And let her cherish him and lie in thy bosom, and that my lord the king may get heat. I'm going to take that, as you're thinking. Verse 3, so they sought for a fair damsel throughout all the coasts of Israel, and found Abishag a Shunammite. Here we go. And brought her to the king, and the damsel was very fair, and cherished the king, and ministered to him, but the king knew her not. All right, so sounds like David maybe had some dignity about him, some morality about him. Hey, he remembered how things went last time he knew a woman who wasn't his wife. However you want to look at it there. And so, let's see. Then Adonijah, the son of Haggith, exalted himself, saying, I will be king. And he prepared him chariots and horsemen and 50 men to run before him. And his father had not displeased him at any time in saying, why hast thou done so? And he also was a very goodly man, and his mother bare him after Absalom. Let's see, do we have any other, things kind of progress here. But Zadok the priest and Benaiah the son of Jehoiada, and Nathan the prophet, and Shimi, and you asked this question just to make me read a bunch of biblical names, didn't you, Paul? I see your game. You just thought it would be funny to make me, past my bedtime, try to read a bunch of Old Testament names. Good job, Paul. You succeeded. I hope that the crowd is entertained. Now let's try to get through this. And the mighty men which belonged to David were not with Adonijah. And Adonijah slew sheep and oxen and fat cattle by the stone of Zeheleth, which is by En-Rogel, and called all his brethren the king's sons, and all the men of Judah the king's servants. Okay. Let's continue to read. We may get some context here. But Nathan the prophet and Benaiah and the mighty men and Solomon his brother he called not. Wherefore Nathan spake unto Bathsheba the mother of Solomon, saying, Hast thou not heard that Adonijah the son of Haggith doth reign, and David our Lord knoweth it not? Now therefore come, let me, I pray thee, give thee counsel, that thou mayest save thine own life and the life of thy son Solomon. Okay, so yeah, Adonijah tries to overthrow the kingdom here. Let's see if we can find, okay, here we go. Go and get thee and unto King David, and say unto him, Didst not thou, my lord, O king, swear unto thine handmaid, saying, Assuredly Solomon thy son shall reign after me, and he shall sit upon my throne? Why then doth Adonijah reign? Behold, while thou yet talkest there with the king, I also will come in after thee, and confirm thy words. And Bathsheba went in unto the king into the chamber, and the king was very old, and Abishag the Shunammite ministered unto the king. And Bathsheba bowed and did obeisance unto the king. The king said, What wouldest thou? And she said, My lord, thou swearest by the Lord thy God unto thy handmaid, saying, Assuredly Solomon thy son shall reign. Okay. Yeah, she tells him what he's done. Do we have any other references to Abishag? Nope. That's the last time we really see her mentioned. So, obviously Adonijah has already put himself on thin ice. That's how I would read that there. And so here comes Adonijah after trying to take the throne, even though Solomon's the rightful king. And so Solomon's on the throne. Adonijah comes along asking for a favor. Right, give me the young virgin, Abishag the Shunammite. Solomon responds, in very strong manner. Now as the Lord liveth, which hath established me and set me on the throne of David my father, and who hath made me an house, as he promised, Adonijah shall be put to death this day. Lot that happens after that as we continue to read. So, but your question is why? At this time, and then we're going to get to Dr. White's recommendation. At this time, to me, it sounds like Adonijah has already put himself in a bad way. And my answer is, he was in no position to be asking anything of King Solomon. And when he requested, I can't remember her name, Abishag? That doesn't sound right. But the Shunammite, the young virgin who was to comfort and minister to David, that was the last straw. You're nothing but a slimy worm, Adonijah. You had one more chance, and here you come along making requests when you had no business doing so. So how about that, Paul? Does that satisfy you? Now, with that being said, Dr. White has his recommendation. Just tell Paul and Mark to read chapter 43 of the Davidic Chronicles by Randy White. Do I have that book? Did you send that one to me? I'll have to double check. Or watch the Life and Times of King David series. So, chapter 43, Dr. White, his work, he addresses the matter of Adonijah, excuse me, and Abihag. Right, is that her name? Such a lovely name. Gonna name my next daughter that. Abishag, not Abihag, Abishag. The Shunammite. That's my answer right there. He's already on thin ice. He already tried to take the kingdom. And now he comes making this request. No more, Adonijah. He was on a zero tolerance policy. That's my recommendation. Then Randy White can grade me and decide how close I came. Now, I promise we didn't plan this, but another question that Dr. White's going to enjoy offering his answer to. Coming from my sister, what is Proverbs to you? Is it a book of advice or what? Now, you do ask, what is it to me? I would say to me, it's a book written to Israel. Hopefully that's the objective statement on it. I think it is. So to me, when I address Proverbs, I see it the same way as I see it as the book of Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, 1st and 2nd Kings, you name it. All right, I'm putting it in the category of this is a Hebrew book written to the Hebrews. All right, so immediately right off the bat, I have put myself in a very small minority. Now, most right dividers would agree with me that the book of Proverbs is a book for Israel. There may be some who would still say, well, there's general advice there, and you can probably find some statements there in Proverbs that you would say, sure, there's good wisdom there, true for all ages. But I am of the opinion that the book of Proverbs really is, I would say, not only instruction specifically for Israel, it's very much a literal book. Dr. White did a study on it, so I don't know. Is this like some kind of conspiracy just to make me promote Dr. White the whole hour? Is this what y'all are doing? Y'all are just playing games with me at this point. But Dr. White does have his own study if you go to randywhiteministries.org. Of course, he just recently got done with his Bible conference. I have been busy, and I haven't got to watch all of it yet. But he's got Proverbs here under poetry, and so he's Proverbs Wisdom Unveiled. And so you can click on that, and you can access all of the different sermons that he has done on Proverbs to get a very good analysis, and I think it's the best study on Proverbs in the entire internet. How about that? I'll give him that much credit. So please take a look at that. He'll give you his thoughts. I think he nailed it when he addressed it. I would say, and I'm going to sound like I'm repeating him here, but great minds think alike. You have to decide what to do with Proverbs. I would say the vast majority of Christianity, Bible believers, they've just said, well, Proverbs is a book of wisdom, but the promises aren't meant to be taken literally. It's more so spiritual promises, right? So when it talks about being blessed or long life or you name it, that's more so just in light of, hey, you're going to be rich in blessings, you're going to be spiritually healthy, your salvation, eternal life. That's what Proverbs is all about. And so they don't take it literally. And that's what you would have to do if you're going to try to take the book of Proverbs and make it about us. I think the answer probably lies in the very beginning. Okay? Let's just start Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1, and see if that gives us the context. Because the beautiful thing about the Bible, I've found, is if you'll start in chapter 1, verse 1, and you just start reading, you'll get a really good idea of who is speaking and who are they speaking to. And what message are they trying to get across? So instead of jumping right into Proverbs chapter 3 or what have you, how about we start at the beginning? Proverbs chapter 1, verse 1, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. All right. I'm just going to take that for what it says. This is the Proverbs of Solomon. He's the son of David. He's the king of Israel. And let's see if, as we read, we're going to get a clue of who Solomon is talking to. All right? To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding. Dr. White made this observation. I think he's absolutely right. What is wisdom and instruction for the Hebrew, for the Israelite? If Solomon's talking about wisdom and instruction, it could be the instruction of just the wisdom of the old man, right? Speaking of Dr. Randy White. But we would probably say, is there not kind of a major section of the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures, dedicated to, I don't know, instruction? Maybe we call that the law. The law that God gave to Israel, Mount Sinai, is that ringing a bell? Moses, 10 Commandments, stone tablets, right? Anybody remember that? So it sounds like he's starting right off the bat, really emphasizing wisdom and instruction. Certainly the law would fall under that category. Now, if it's a broader category, maybe he's using it in a broader sense than just the law that God gave, but also instruction, hey, Solomon, when you throw your stone with the sling, make sure you focus on where you're aiming. Aim small, miss small, right? You could, read in a broader category if you wanted. But you would have to say the only thing that's certain, the wisdom and instruction that the Bible has, would be the law. To receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, okay. That to me sounds like the law. Because you will find in the law wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity. You absolutely will. To give subtlety to the simple. We're not going to go into all the detail verse by verse here because I'm just trying to make a point of what Proverbs is. Probably make it to give subtlety to the simple. I remember Dr. White talking on that. Maybe he can answer. But I think if we read the surrounding context, we're going to get the point of what he's trying to say. To the young man, knowledge and discretion. Just give understanding. Okay? Maybe the simple. I think he took it as the simple being people, right? Just the simple person. Giving subtlety to that explanation, perhaps. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. I mean, that's really kind of the first commandment, isn't it? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. And then we get to verse 8. My son. Now I know vast majority of people just spiritualize it, allegorize it, what have you. We're taking the Bible literally, are we not? It's the Proverbs of Solomon, and he addresses my son. Well, Solomon had a son, one in particular. I don't remember how many children he had. He had a lot of wives, so he had a lot of kids, I'd imagine. Rehoboam, though, is the one that reigned after Solomon. When Solomon died, Rehoboam becomes king of Israel. Hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. We could investigate that to decide how literal are we going to be there. The instruction of thy father, sounds like Solomon's talking to him. The law of his mother, I don't know, she was under the house of Solomon, if we want to take it as Rehoboam's literal mother. But you could also read it in a sense as well of Israel, the law of Israel. My position is, in short, as you read the book of Proverbs, read it in the sense of these are actual promises Solomon given to his son. Now, some of these extend beyond just Solomon. Very famously here, the Proverbs 31 woman. Is it chapter 30? No, I thought it was chapter 31. Yeah. Who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies? The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. I think as you read it, you realize, hey, there's a whole lot more going on than just a woman, right? This is not, how can one woman do everything in one day? She works all day, all night, everybody's taken care of. She's buying, selling land, purchasing fine garments. She seeketh wool and flax and worketh willingly with her hands. She's like the merchant ship. She bringeth her food from afar. Man, this woman's got it all together. Is this a woman or is this the nation of Israel? So I would recommend don't take the book of Proverbs and try to make it promises to you today, because you'll be let down. Or you have to water it down to just spiritual feel-good stuff. Interpret it as a document that Solomon wrote to his son Rehoboam about being king, about reigning over Israel. And if he does his job, Israel will be that woman that God is describing through Solomon in Proverbs 31. That's how I would recommend handling that there. It was a good study. Michaela says, Brother Pugs recommended a local church in Louisville, and she loves it. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm very glad to hear that. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to see if there's any questions up here at the top. Michaela says, Pastor, I see so many videos. I always think, dude, I would love to hear Pastor Baze's thoughts on this. I appreciate it. Probably my thoughts are going to be about like yours. Let's see here. Okay, so here's a question that came in tonight from Jerry. I don't think I have really any other theology questions for me. It was a slow week. All right, it's a slow week, and I'm not afraid to be honest with you. So if you want any more theology questions, or if you want the whole show to go an hour, ball's in your court. All right, this is up to you here. Jerry says, what do you think about Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA platforming openly homosexual activists? I don't know exactly. I've heard about this some. I've heard Charlie Kirk talk about this some. I don't know of any individuals in particular. Here's a website here called Dare to Think. Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, and the Compromise of Biblical Faithfulness. A warning. So I don't know any major names. Probably Dave Rubin would be one I can think of. Dave Rubin, yeah. So Turning Point USA's opening platforming of homosexual activists such as Scott Pressler, Dave Rubin, Rob Smith, and others. Okay. And honestly, the truth is we could go beyond just Turning Point USA. Even the Daily Wire, they've had, Dave Rubin on as a guest before. Spencer Klavan, the son of Andrew Klavan, is an open homosexual. So let me look at the question again. What do you think? All right, so what do I think? All right, I get to. I think that we have to decide, what are we trying to conserve? I do think that probably most of us here would say that if you had to decide really what is your political conviction, are you a conservative or are you a libertarian? Now, there can be a degree of overlap there. There are libertarians that can lean conservative, if that makes sense, all right? And at the same time, there are conservatives that can lean libertarian. Conservatives that promote small government. And probably you could also say conservatives that stand for state sovereignty. Let California be California. Let Gavin Newsom run that miserable state into the ground if he wants. Smaller federal government. I think you do have to decide what you're going to conserve. I have gotten much more conservative as I've gotten older. If we join hands and stand with those who believe, and as far as I know, those like Dave Rubin, I don't know about Scott Pressler. I can't speak to him. Dave Rubin, from what I understand, has a husband. Okay? How are we on the same side if we can't agree on the most foundational institute of society? All right? That is not compatible. Hypothetically, if there was somebody who was homosexual but said, no, marriage is between a man and a woman. All we're asking for is to be able to have a civil union, right? Well, the argument of the what? Was it the argument of the 80s? I mean, y'all tell me. I don't know when they were trying to, push the idea of a civil union, and then when they decided to start trying to push gay marriage. I guess that's one thing, because at least they're not trying to undermine marriage. I'm still not for it, obviously, but anyways, I just don't see how that's compatible with conservatism. What about Dave Rubin is conservative? Well, he wants taxes cut? I mean, isn't that what Mitt Romney stood for? And he's as milquetoast as it comes. All right? Mitt Romney hasn't done anything to be conservative. And the reality is, my position, you asked me what I thought. My position is, if we try to say, let's just go back to 1990. Let's just go back to 1990 when there wasn't a bunch of transgender propaganda. Let's go back to 1990 and, hey, it wasn't really gay marriage. It was just civil unions, partnerships, things like that. 1990s are how we got Drag Queen Story Hour in 2018. That's how that happened. So I don't get why we would just go back a little ways to just repeat the same mistakes. When you redefined marriage, and really you openly said, yeah, we're going to treat homosexuality as the same as human sexuality. Human sexuality is just naturally heterosexual. That's how we have, babies. So I do not like that Turning Point USA works with them. I don't know why they do. I don't know if they think they're gaining credibility. I don't know if they think that it's, look, we're not, homophobic. We do events with these openly homosexual people. I don't like it. I think it's preposterous. If you're going to, and as Jerry says, it's Charlie's claims to be a conservative ministry first, then political. Yeah, if you're political first, then sure, okay, I guess that's your political position. It's a loser position, I think. You need to defend, and essentially, the traditional argument. We're not calling for the re-implementing of the Mosaic Law. If two men were to engage and a man to lie with a man as a man lies with a woman, we're not calling for them to be stoned. What we're saying is we're not going to acknowledge that as anything that's marriage related. There are certain rights that a spouse has that is unique to a spouse. And we're not asking what you do in your free time. We're not asking you to tell us what you do in your free time. Just don't tell anybody. It's pretty simple, right? So yeah, my thoughts. I don't like it. I think that it's weak. That's big 2014 conservative energy. All right. That's weak spine conservatism. We've got to get 100 proof conservatism back in business and just call it what it is. Jerry says it has been a slippery slope, and what next? Will they soon try to normalize trans? I do think, and I hope that I'm right. I'm going to be rarely I'm going to be optimistic here tonight. I do think the trans issue is in a very bad position. I'm not saying it's done. They often fight hardest when they're backed into a corner, so it's not over, but they are in a bad place. I really think so. So hopefully not that, but like we said, if we just go back to 1990, yeah, the trans stuff will come up again. As long as we're saying that a man and a woman is no different than a man and a man, or a woman and a woman, or two guys and a billy goat, whatever. Yeah, we're going to eventually just go back to trans again. Like it's a loop, right? You just got to get out of it entirely. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat yourself. All right, Jay has a theology question. Why did Peter have to have a vision to go to Cornelius when he was told to go to all creatures at the end of Mark? I think my answer is going to be, I think Peter believed he had accomplished that at Pentecost. That's my theory. Let's see if it holds up, though. Mark 16:15, the Bible, not this added so-called ending of Mark, but the actual ending of Mark. And any preacher who says otherwise is spineless, and his wife guts his deer for him. And he said unto them, go ye into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Okay, so go into all the world. You could take that as go to every nation. That's how it's often taken. But go into all the world. Proclaim the gospel to every creature. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned. And these, very interesting statement there that, the evangelicals will rush over. But the good old, the good Church of Christ will acknowledge that and be baptized. And so with that, they have clear instruction. I get what you're saying. Go into all the world, preach the gospel to every creature. But then when he's told to go to a Gentile, an uncircumcised person, Peter's very hesitant. If we go to Acts chapter 10, correct? Ten 13. I was almost right. Let's go ahead and back up to On the morrow, as they went on their journey and drew nigh unto the city, Peter went upon the housetop to pray about the 6th hour, and he became very hungry and would have eaten. But while they made ready, he fell into a trance, and saw heaven opened, and a certain vessel, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and a certain vessel descending unto him, as it had been a great sheet, knit at the four corners and let down to the earth, wherein were all manner of four-footed beasts of the earth, and wild beasts, and creeping things, and fowls of the air. And there came a voice to him, Rise, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, Not so, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice spake unto him again the second time, What God hath cleansed, that call not thou common. Now, we pointed out before, this is a very good case to say that Christ did not do away with the kosher law, we'll call it that, the food laws, in the Gospels. Some modern Bible versions, in Mark chapter 7, I believe, they'll claim that, saying this, he declared all foods clean. Not in the Bible, absolutely wrong. It's added in, it's interpretation. It's not a real Bible translation at all. Get that out of there, all right? Jesus never did away with the food laws during his earthly ministry. Evident, case in point, Peter is still keeping food laws. So he says, Lord, I'm not going to do this. And furthermore, I'm going to even argue that the food law wasn't even done away with here because the interpretation, the meaning of the vision. Think about Joseph. Joseph had his vision that he had his sheaths. He had his sheaf and his brother's sheaves bowed to his sheaf. Well, is that exactly what God was communicating there? No, he was communicating that, Joseph, your brothers are going to bow down to you. Here, the sheet of the unclean animals, Peter, rise, kill, and eat, that's really not even what the vision's about. It's getting Peter prepared to hear, hey, I'm going to have you do something that beforehand you would have said, no way, unclean, not acceptable, not going to do it. And so, now while Peter doubted himself what this vision, which he had seen, should mean, right? So he's pondering, what does that mean? Clearly, Peter did not take that vision to be, yeah, God's telling me to go eat unclean meat. That's really not how he understood it. He saw the vision and he was thinking, you're trying to communicate something to me. Now I've just got to be ready to respond. And then enter in Cornelius. Behold, the men which were sent from Cornelius had made inquiry for Simon's house and stood before the gate, and called and asked whether Simon, with surname Peter, were lodged there. While Peter thought on the vision, still thinking, the Spirit said unto him, Behold, 3 men seek thee. And this is the meaning of it. Peter goes, and he goes and sees Cornelius. And as we go on and read, he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But God hath showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean. That is the meaning of the passage. I should not call any man common or unclean. That's the meaning of the vision. I think over here in Mark 16, they are instructed, go into all the world and preach the gospel. What exactly that means, I mean, you can read in Acts 2 at Pentecost, every nation, right? Every Jew of every nation was there, right? Jews, proselytes, every nation under heaven. They really did give testimony to all the world in that sense. You could read, preach the gospel to every creature as, hey, there's still some work to do. We know that Christ said, you'll be my witnesses unto Judea, Samaria, unto the uttermost parts of the earth. A lot that we could do there. I think what we would have to say, the reason why Peter was hesitant here in Acts 10 is he did not know that the law of entering into the company or the nation, coming unto one of another nation in the sense that he did with Cornelius, entering into his house, was going to be greenlit by God. They knew the command was there, but they didn't quite know, hey, how is that going to be accomplished? They knew what they knew in Mark 16, and then in Acts 10, God revealed how they were going to get this done. God was going to, I don't really want to quite use the term dispensation, but God was going to make an exception. Beforehand, yeah, you wouldn't have gone into the house unto one of another nation to keep company with one, but now, green light. Swing away, Peter. Go get them. Go tell them. That's how I would approach that there. I hope that helps, Jay. At least gives you my thoughts. All right. Let's see. No other questions, I don't suppose. So if that's all that you have, I reckon I'll leave you alone. So let's see here. Tomorrow we'll go live in the morning, 9:30 normal time. And if there are questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. There'll be a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about the Pope. Bless his heart. I, as the right dividing preacher, I'm offering my blessing to the Pope. Bless his heart. He was asked a question and he fumbled it very, very poorly. My suspicion, I told you, I hate to say I was right. You know how much that bothers me. I warned you that it was Francis 2.0. And that's what we got. We got Francis 2.0. And the Catholics, they're torn. They're struggling. Some of them are trying to defend Papa Leo. Some of them are kind of mad. What I'm looking for is the opportunity to strike. We're going to find a point when the Catholics, the true manly Catholics, they're fed up. We're going to get them. We're going to get them. Because, they take the Bible literally. They just don't know the Pauline mystery. They don't know how to rightly divide. So, I'm excited. I think we're in a great position. We've got them right where we want them, folks. We're gonna take over the world with sound doctrine, rightly dividing the word of truth. A little bit of swagger and masculinity, a little bit of testosterone. Bring some manlyhood back into the pulpits, right? Get rid of these skinny jean wearing, emotional, pitiful excuses of preachers and let the real men start teaching the Bible. How does that sound? That's what we're going to do. That's the plan. Appreciate all of you. Very thankful to have Dr. White in the chat with us. Appreciate all of that. And thank you for bearing with me, sticking with it, staying the course. I am going to buy you all a Brahms milkshake. It's just up to you how you're going to share it. All right, everybody. That's all I've got for you tonight. I am going to try to go to sleep after having all this coffee. And hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Shields and Arrows, Theology Thursday, diving into the depths of exegetical doctrinal discussion. Thank you all so much for being with us, supporting this ministry. You can go to markbazeministries.org to find our sermons, our Bible studies, obviously YouTube as well. Please share it with somebody. Let them know about it. And have a great rest of your night. Thank you all so much.